your host for Lacrosse Talk PM, Rick Solem.
All right, welcome to Lacrosse Talk PM. Got a fun show. Hopefully it'll be a fun show. We'll see how fun these guys are. These are military people, so they might not be at all that. No, I'm just kidding. We've got in studio some of the Airfest attractions. We got. How's that? Can we call you attractions?
Sure, that works.
That works.
F-35 pilot Kristin Wolfe. So we go in. Are you a fan of like the books, the mythology? I don't even know. I didn't read up all on the Wikipedia on Beowulf. I don't know. Or you just. What's the story there?
You don't pick your own call sign, but yeah, that's what they call me at work. So
okay, that makes sense. So it's not your fault, Kristin. Kristin Beowulf. She's a pilot of. I call it the $1 trillion jet. So you guys might think that's but is it the newest? It's the newest, like most. I guess describe the F-35 Lightning II. Lightning II, is that how you say that?
Yeah, absolutely. So the Lightning 1 was the P-38. A while ago, and so we've got the Lightning 2 right now, the F-35. So it's the newest one, still coming off the production line in Lockheed. So we're still getting new jets all the time, actually. But yeah, the newest 5th-gen fighter jet out there.
Now, is it? When are we going to do electric jets? When are we going to do that?
Oh, jeez. Yeah, I don't know about that.
So the first thing I saw, as I was coming in this afternoon, you guys came early, so thanks for that. I didn't get to see you land. But I did see you on the horizon. I was like, "Whoa, those are so." And then the Blue Angels are like fancy. Those are blue, whatever. And then you see yours, and you're like, "Oh, those are definitely, they're a little bit more intimidating when you look at them on the tarmac." And the first thing I noticed was, it wasn't you guys. It was some, you got a crew working. They were putting those silver windshield visors inside the jet. So we've got this big expensive jet, and we don't have like automatic tinted windows or anything like that. What's going on?
Unfortunately, we do not have automatic tinted windows. But those visors you're talking about in reference to, that's actually a solar cover. So with the sun beating down on the jet on the tarmac, it's incredibly hot. So we have to put the solar cover on there to protect the actual computer of the jet.
Yeah, everything will melt. You'd think they'd automate that. And that,
it's in the works.
That guy talking there is Technical Sergeant Tim Erickson. He's informed me he's not a pilot. So what's your job then?
So I'm actually.
Are you the you're the sun visor guy?
I'm the sun visor guy. I'm actually one of the narrators for the air show, and as well as in charge of all the aircraft maintenance on the team.
Okay, so I'll get this question right out of the way, Kristin. You're a female pilot. You're probably. Do you know how many female pilots are in the Air Force?
I don't know an exact number. Traditionally, it's around 4% of Air Force fighter pilots are female, and the rest are male. And right now, we're out of Utah, so we're right about 4% out of 100 dudes. There's about 4 girls in the whole wing. So.
Okay, and you get this question every time. So, do the inspiring female pilot? But I don't know. Is it a little bit different going through all this as a female pilot? Is there, or has the military made that? There's always some news story about that. But like, can you just talk about your experience in getting to this level?
Yeah, generically, no. There's no difference, right? The military is a merit-based and rank-based system, a very structured system, and the same holds true in pilot training. So. You're held to the exact same standards as everybody else. You're graded the exact same way. You either fly the airplane well or you don't. And so the best people in the class are going to make their way to the top, and hopefully you're ranked according to just how well you can fly the airplane.
Now, are you going to get ripped on for calling it an airplane?
Instead of a fighter jet?
Yeah,
well, in pilot training, it is an airplane. I guess it's a propeller airplane to start off with. But,
okay. And I think what everyone wants to know is, we got to get this question from the Air Force people every time is, now this is almost a dated question now, but Dave would be able to. I asked Dave this the other day, but Top Gun, ridiculous movie, Tom Cruise, Top Gun, ridiculous movie, or a movie that Air Force people love?
I think everybody loves that movie because it's just awesome flying. I honestly haven't seen the whole trailer for the second Top Gun movie, but I'm super excited because I heard the visuals and the videography are so much better. But, I mean, it's a movie that everybody loves, and honestly, when you go out there and talk to the public, most of them don't know the difference between Air Force and Navy. So
I'm a volleyball player, so I don't actually love the movie Top Gun, if you've ever seen the volleyball scene in that movie. So, and you're right, it is a Navy. My dad was in the Navy, so I guess I should know the difference that it wasn't an Air Force movie. But, okay, so Air Force people like the movie Top Gun, even though now you give you double reason to hate it because it's a Navy movie, and it's ridiculous. I feel like it's not reality at all. But I did, in the serious show that I do, I did have the old mayor of La Crosse on, and we did go over Top Gun to the trailer when it came out, and that's what I did with the mayor one day. All right, so I want to get Brad out of here. Brad's got to do the news, and then we can set up and finish up with these guys, the F-35 team, and talk to Kristin a little bit about flying this thing. We'll be back after this. All right, welcome back to Lacrosse Talk PM. 608-785-7914 is the talk and text line. If you want to text me in, text me places that these guys can go eat in lacrosse. Have you guys eaten supper yet? Like, where is the best place that these Air Force people, these F-35 Lightning II team can go? They're performing at Airfest tomorrow. They're in studio with me now. Major Kristin Beowulf. I should just say Major Kristin Wolfe. Then people don't get confused about Beowulf. And Technical Sergeant Tim Erickson. But obviously Airfest is tomorrow. Let's get this out of the way. The whole reason you're here in town is, and it sounds like you're due about an 18-minute routine with this brand new fighter jet, the F-35 Lightning II. Okay, so what are you going to do? What kind of tricks are you going to do with this thing that maybe the Blue Angels will be jealous of?
Yeah, so ours is a single ship demonstration flight, so we don't fly in formation with any other fighters. It's just us kind of raging around in a fighter jet for about 13 to 14 minutes of flying. Tech Sergeant Erickson and his crew will introduce the whole air show and kind of what you're about to see, the history behind the jet for the first 2 minutes of the show, and then you'll see the jet take off right in the runway before you. And then we're going to do about a series of 12 to 13 maneuvers of, high-speed pass right over 700 miles an hour, a slow-speed pass right around 100, and then a bunch of loops, square loops, high angle of attack maneuvers, everything you want to see at a traditional air show, but out of a fighter jet.
When you say you fly this thing, what do I fly the F-35, or I fly what do you say as a short what term do you use for this jet?
Mostly just F-35.
F-35, okay,
Yeah.
so I'm going to say that from now. What can the F-35 do that maybe the other jets can't do? Like, why is it that what about it makes it unique, I guess?
Sure. So it has one of the most advanced fly-by-wire systems that we see currently. Both the F-22 and the F-35 are extremely maneuverable. We don't have thrust vectoring like the F-22, but we can perform in a high AOA environment. So you'll see some of the loops and stuff will be upwards of 50 angle of attack as we're going over the top, which also allows us to do a super slow speed pass there, which you traditionally see the Thunderbirds do. I'm not sure if the Blue Angels do one as well.
So you can't take off going straight up?
No, that's the B model variant of the F-35, and we're the Air Force variant.
And then how jealous is the rest of the Air Force that you get to fly this thing? Tim, you're going to have to answer for her. She's too humble to be
Totally
right?
different.
Very humble. No, she's in a very precious role. She's hand-selected for this position, and she's a rock star at it.
Aren't pilots supposed to be full of themselves, or just when she's
That's just on Top Gun. That's the Navy.
just Top Gun? Okay, we're going. Okay, Navy pilots full of themselves. Okay, you guys told me over the break this is an $80 million jet or somewhere around there. How much pressure is there? I mean, they're all probably about. I mean, are they all up there in the tens of millions of dollars? Is there any more pressure to fly in one versus the other? Do you feel a little bit more like, whoa, I'm flying the brand new thing?
I don't, honestly, because once you get strapped into the jet, you're just kind of in your own little bubble there in the cockpit, doing your best, and kind of habit patterns take over as far as taking off and landing. Traditionally, not in a demo world, we're just focused on tactics. Getting the jet to and from the airspace is just kind of a non-event. You don't really even think about it. It's not really something that it stresses you out too much. It's mostly just doing the tactics.
Has anyone pulled any? So the other day at volleyball, my friend was playing. I was waiting to play. He left his car open. I shot his seat way to the front. So when he got out, he used the steering wheel. Anyone pulling any pranks like that? Or they shooting the seat way up or way back for you maybe? Because no, you're pretty tall.
Not any pranks on purpose. I mean, people will pull the rudder pedals all the way forward or all the way back to where you can't even reach them, or the seat has different tilt positions that you're just frustrated about. But not any pranks. I don't know. The maintainers have some pranks, I'm sure.
It was 90 degrees out there, and I felt bad for you guys out there, and myself, and Dave, too, who's sitting in the studio as well, Dave Larson, who runs the media coordinator for Airfest. How's the AC in these jets? Pretty good air conditioning?
Oh, yeah, it's pretty good. Once the engine started, you can put it full heat, full cold.
Or you probably don't even need AC when you're. Is it really cold when you get up there, or what is it like when you're? Yeah,
if you're cruising upwards, in the 30s, 40s, up to 50, then it's pretty cold. But while we're doing the demo and we're only 15 minutes down low, it gets pretty hot down there. So it'll be pretty hot this weekend.
What is the rules with texting and flying?
Our phone is supposed to be turned completely off while we're in the cockpit.
Okay, so but really, I mean, come on. any selfies up there, anything like that? I mean, you got to keep them pretty well hidden. Then I guess the government would know. Wouldn't they?
You can't send them out. There's maybe some selfies out there.
So I guess where does somebody start? They want to be a pilot. Do you have to be a math genius? Do you have to obviously join the Air Force if you want to be a pilot, but and then how do you get to the top? Like, I'm just going to call it the top of the top. You're flying the world's premier jet right now. So how, obviously like you're the LeBron James of the Air Force right now.
Oh, goodness. Not that close.
Well, I mean, he is pretty old now and lost in the first round. So the Luka Doncic of the Air Force, let's call you that. Oh, he lost in the first round too. Anyway, but yeah, I guess can you talk about the stepping stones a little bit from high school girl to now the pilot of the pilots?
Sure. So you've got to have a bachelor's degree, whether you get that through going to a service academy or doing ROTC in college, or if you already have a bachelor's and you go to officer training school. And 6 weeks later, boom, you're an Air Force officer. But once you have a bachelor's degree, you can apply to go to pilot training. And from there, it really there's a bunch of factors that weigh in, like physical fitness, your commander's ranking, your GPA is the biggest one.
Okay.
So I always tell people to study what they're interested in.
Yeah.
Because nobody cares if you're a math genius. You don't have to be an aerodynamics major.
Just be a journalism major.
Yeah, but we have journalism majors, turf management, like everything you can imagine. We have it.
I learned after college, because I was a communications major. I learned after I graduated that all the football players take communications so that they can stay on the football team. And I was like, it seems like I should have had a different major. So you were a comm major then? Is that what you're saying?
I was chemical engineering. But...
just chemical engineering. That's okay, so then then you start out where with and then work your way up to. Are you like Tim? Is she just better at flying than everyone else, and she gets this jet, or what's going on?
So
my hype man.
Yeah, she's an awesome pilot. Like I said, she was hand selected for this position. Out of the 100 pilots that are stationed there at Hill, you're looking at the one who flies a demo. She's the only one that's actually certified in the Air Force to fly these maneuvers during a demonstration profile.
Okay.
So.
And then where did you, what jet, is this your favorite jet, or do you look back and go, you know what, I really like the F-22 or something like that? I don't know.
I love flying this jet right now. So generically, pilot training is about 3 years before you're actually in your first combat unit, ready to go to war.
Okay.
Then I did 3 years in the Raptor, and now about 4 years in the F-35. But, it's the newest jet coming off the line, like we talked to earlier. It has the most advanced avionics and sensors, and it's just so new. And the amount of different types of bombs that you can drop and go strafe the ground, it's so cool. Every single day the mission set's different. Is it cooler flying like ridiculously fast, or you said it goes pretty slow? So I don't know, like, because then you're just floating. That would seem like it may be a more unique experience. Yeah, fast close to the ground is always going to be cool.
Okay.
Right? So whether it's during a demo profile, or if we're going to go to a low level through the mountains of Idaho, or we flew through Star Wars Canyon out of Edwards Air Force Base the other day, where they filmed Star Wars. That's super cool.
Not as cool as lacrosse, though, right?
No.
But tell me, you come up, where were you flying from?
We flew from Hill Air Force Base, Utah, so just north of Salt Lake City. Okay,
so you cross, I don't know, when you start getting to the Mississippi River Valley, what's your, Utah's really pretty, so, but what's your impression of lacrosse when you start to see the river and then the bluffs and everything?
Yeah, so honestly, you don't see much when you're above about 10,000 feet, but once we started to descend, I was surprised by kind of like the rolling hills, the terrain. Getting to see the Mississippi River is always really cool. So it was really beautiful seeing all the greenery.
When the Blue Angels first flew here, they were like, whoa, like, because they were, I don't know, they wanted to maybe pretend that they were like, well, the bluffs are pretty high. I don't know. Was there any of that? Did anything surprise you? And they said, wow, it's a pretty rural area. So we're like, well, La Crosse is a pretty big city. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
But it is definitely a rural area.
Yeah, definitely kind of seeing the marsh to the west of the field was a little bit different. I didn't expect that. And the bluffs they're pretty high when you're flying, 200-300 feet.
Yeah.
You notice it pretty quickly.
Will there be any buzzing the tower? We'll go back to Top Gun.
That's a good Navy reference.
Right, yeah. Well, there is a tower at the airport, so I don't know. Do you guys get to what's the funnest thing you get to do at an air show, I guess?
Man, the high speed pass is really fun. That's 0.95 Mach, so like I said, just around 700 miles an hour, so that one's always pretty cool. Especially if the relative humidity this weekend is pretty high, then maybe you'll see some vapes or kind of the supersonic clouds start to form around the jet, so that's pretty cool for the crowd. Everything's really fun, and it always depends on what the crowd's going to enjoy and what looks the best.
And then is this how does the job work as a what do you call it, a team? What kind of team are you?
We're an aerial demonstration team.
Demonstration team. So how does every weekend you're doing stuff like this? Do you get 2 weeks of vacation? What is that? How does that work?
Yeah.
I know you're in the military, so there's but yeah, just describe the job.
Yeah, we're not as busy as the Thunderbirds, the Blue Angels. We do about 20 shows a year in the air show season. So typically March to October, we're on the road 20 times. And for the jets are on the road about 5 days. My maintenance team is on the road for about 2 days longer than that.
Okay.
So they're on the road about half the year, and then 20 shows a year. So we'll get, stints of where we're gone for, back-to-back weekends and just barely home in Utah for a couple days. But we have 3-week breaks, 2-week breaks every now and then. But once we go home, we're doing our regular job or, practicing for the demos.
Yeah, and that was my next question. When you're not, is this the fun part of the job, and then you got to go back to quote unquote work?
Oh yeah, this is definitely the fun part of the job.
Absolutely.
What is the rest of what is the stuff that people don't get to see? That when you're not doing the fun stuff, what are you doing as a pilot?
So I get to fly with the local units back at Hill. So we've got 3 combat units there, and we borrow jets from them to do the demo. But if we're not doing anything for a couple weeks at a time, I'll go fly with them out in the local training range, do normal tactical combat sorties. So that's pretty fun to kind of get spun back up on that and do demo kind of in the off season, just kind of trade up what we're doing.
I mean, like I get to do the aerial team with the air shows, and then I go back home and do some more flying. This all sounds like the fun stuff. What about just like you talk about physical fitness? You got to be physical fit to be in a pilot. I mean, is there ridiculous standards there? Or you got to run a mile under 10 minutes or something?
No, not at all. I mean, everybody in the Air Force is the same physical standards, whether it's a fighter pilot or not.
Okay.
Obviously, you still need to be kind of at least in a little bit of shape to fly for an extended period of time or pull a lot of G's or do aggressive maneuvering. So everybody has their own fitness routine. There's not a certain test or.
Were you ever bothered by the G's, so to speak? You must not have been, or you wouldn't be where you are, right? Did it ever get to you?
They're not the most fun thing in the world, I'll say. Once you get above 7 G's, it's just a pain.
And that's what you did to the 2 guys the other day. Well, you didn't do that. The Blue Angel guys did that the other day, right? So 7 G's. I mean, you must see someone throw up all the time, huh, Dave? They gotta clean up what was the pandemic like for you guys in the Air Force over the last year and a half?
Yeah, so even though the COVID-19 pandemic hit us, it cut half of our shows for the season. So we still ended up doing 12 air shows throughout the year when we were slotted for our initial 20. So, I mean, for us to get on the road and hit 12 was great for us to get out there. A little bit different, too, as well as far as the air show side of it goes. They're more drive-in style formats. So there's not typically a lot of crowd interaction like there would be during a normal air show. So
I'm trying to check my text. I'm not listening, but I want to see if anyone gave us some restaurant ideas.
Hit us with recommendations. We're in town for a few more days. So.
I did get a text. No civilians get to go in this thing, right? Like the Blue Angels, that's totally different, right? Nobody. I mean, you guys were
one seater.
Your guy back there was yelling at me about angles of pictures I could take. I was like, oh, sorry, man. Somebody texted in, have you seen Captain Marvel? And if she got a chance to fly a plane like that one in the movie, would you? Captain Marvel is more ridiculous than Top Gun, I would assume. Maybe you love that movie. I don't know.
Of course I've seen it. It's a great movie. So it's an awesome movie. I'd fly any jet if they'd let me.
Man, I'm looking for restaurant. Nobody's giving me any restaurant ideas.
Give us those recommendations, please.
Yeah, right. I mean, what are you guys going to do? Where are you going to go eat? What's the plan for the rest of the night? I mean, you're obviously not going to get slockered up before the air show. So
I don't know. I've only been here for like 5 hours, but no, we're staying just downtown. So we walk to any restaurants or bars and go hang out with the local community.
I mean, Dave, you're from here. Where are they going to go eat? Where should they go eat?
McDonald's.
Buzzard Billy's. It's right across the block. Go eat at Buzzard Billy's. I'll tell you. And then I'll text your guy when the people, because I'm going to yell at people to text me the rest of the show, and I'm going to text you where to go eat. But I really appreciate you guys coming on. Kristin Wolfe, she's Major Kristin Wolfe. She's the pilot of the F-35, and Technical Sergeant Tim Erickson. And we'll see you guys up in the air tomorrow, Saturday, and Sunday, right?
Absolutely.
Are you saving anything for like a finale Sunday, or is it all going to be tonight?
No, everything's the same. Tomorrow's a rehearsal day, so we try to get honed in on what the local environment looks like, what the airfield looks like, and then Saturday, Sunday, hopefully, is an awesome show.
Oh, last thing. So when you guys landed this afternoon and you were doing the interviews with all the media, that's when the Blue Angels decided that they were going to take off and start flying around. I mean, is that on purpose? Are they doing that on purpose?
They're on a tight schedule. They were scheduled for noon.
Is there any competing here, Blue Angels versus that? I mean,
we'll let the crowd decide.
What about drag race? If we drag race the Blue Angel, what are they? A F-18 Hornet? Is that right?
Yeah,
F-18 Super Hornets.
Like, are you just blowing the door? Well, they don't have doors. Or are you blowing the wings off them, or what?
I'd like to think we're faster.
I mean, they can hold 7.5 Gs when we're up to 9. So
okay, so that's how fast does the thing go? Like, what's it?
Our top speed is 1.6 Mach.
1.6
So 1.6
miles.
times
Let's
the
do
speed of
miles
sound.
per hour.
It's about 1,200 miles per hour.
1,200. Okay. And then do they don't let you do that any time because there's a sound barrier and there's a lot of rules, right?
If we went faster than supersonic, we'd bust people's eardrums, break windows. So we go 0.95 Mach, which is around 700.
When's the last time you got to open her up?
Oh.
And where do you do that if you get to do? Because like you said, you probably got to be somewhere safe,
You got to be
right?
kind of in the restricted ranges, out in the airspace. So in Utah, we do it over the desert,
Okay.
all the way out to Nevada.
So when's the last time you did that?
Oh man, I don't know. A couple weeks ago.
A couple weeks ago. So you get to do it once in a while.
Yeah.
So,
You don't hear the sonic boom or see the cloud or anything.
Do you
unfortunately.
do you make Tim? Hey Tim, can you go ask the bosses if we can open it up today? Is that how that works?
I should.
All right. Well, thanks a lot, you guys, for coming in and enjoy your stay in La Crosse and have fun
Appreciate
this weekend.
it. And if you guys do get a chance, go ahead and follow us on social media. We're on all platforms at F-35 Demo Team.
All right.
Perfect.
All right. Welcome back to La Crosse Talk PM. 608-785-7914 is the talk and text line. Dave Larson's in the studio with me, sticking around. We put you on the mic now, Dave. We get these fly boys out of here. I guess we fly girls, right? And Phil Dacey is on the phone with me. Phil, are you there? How you doing, Phil?
Oh, man, out here on the ramp out at La Crosse Airport at Colgan Airways. It is just absolutely gorgeous. It's time for an air show, isn't it?
I hope you got the AC on in the car, right, at least? Are you just sitting out
man,
there?
I'm standing on the ramp, man. I'm an air show guy.
Oh, you're going to be sweating, Phil. I guess you got to get used to it tomorrow. Where are you going to be? Where are you going to be tomorrow when not tomorrow, Saturday when the Air Fest is going on? Are you up in the tower? Are you walking around? What are you doing?
No, I'm actually right at Show Center. We've got our air show control tower there, which is separate from the air traffic control tower, which takes care of all the other airplanes. But our air boss Scott Duck will be up there with me, and he'll be controlling the show. As basically the show coordinator, and during actual showtime, and I'll be up there with him calling the shots, and it's going to be a blast. I'll tell you what a lineup we've got this year, huh?
Yeah, you've been doing this since 1998. You've been part of every Air Fest in La Crosse. Let's just do a little history here. When you think of all the Air Fests that we had, Dave, you think of this too. I'll put Phil in the spot first, but just most memorable act that you've seen performed.
Well, I'll tell you, one of the most unique acts that ever was on the air show circuit ever debuted right here at La Crosse at the Deke Slayton Air Fest, and that was legendary air show Hall of Famer Jimmy Franklin with the one and only jet-powered Waco. And the Red Rocket was here, and that was the first time it was ever flown in public. And it was right here at La Crosse in '98, and it just blew our socks off. What an airplane that was! A biplane with a big radial engine on the nose and a jet engine on the bottom. That was incredible. We've had the pleasure of having the military jet teams here. I'll tell you, F-15 demos, which we don't have available to us anymore. But of course, man, we got the F-16 here this year. We got the F-35, and of course the Blue Angels with the all-new Super Hornets. This is going to be awesome.
Dave, what do you think? You looking back, what was maybe one of the performances that stuck out?
Over the years, there's been so many wonderful performers, and I had time to think through this, and I really couldn't think of any one that jumped out because we have so many wonderful performers over the years from the military jet teams, Susan Dacey and her Big Red, and Leroy Butler. We've had
Leroy Butler, former Packer, has been on WKTY.
We've had so many performers over the years, and it's just neat. The military jets are really cool.
I mean, when honestly, I saw the F-35s on the horizon driving in. I was mad because I'm like, come on, guys. I even was here a little early, and they were earlier. And then, but when I got to the ground, I walked by the Blue Angels, who were the jets were on. You were walking with me. And then, but I was looking at it. Looked like alien ships, those two F-35s from the back. Yep. And I was like, God, this is kind of intimidating, and also really cool. What did you, Phil? You haven't even gotten to see those things yet, have you?
No, not this year. No, I mean, of course, last year was basically a washout. We had a full air show season scheduled last year, and we did our first show of the season down in Laredo, Texas, in February, and we're going, oh man, this is going to be just an absolutely slamming air show season. It's going to be a blast, and of course, then March came, and we did one more show in 2020 last year, and that was down in Houston, Texas. We did a show with a very similar format as to what we have here this year, had the drive-in format. Unfortunately, by then, both the Blue Angels and Thunderbirds had stood down for the season. But they did have the F-35 demo was there, and so that was really, really cool. So it's going to be to have the F-35 and the F-16 here, along with the Blue Angels. Man, that's just awesome.
Now, when you look at the lineup here, Phil, I know I tried to get your guy here, Eric Edrin.
Yeah.
I think I said that. And it sounds like this guy is kind of a comedian. Maybe we need to get him on tomorrow. But when you look at the lineup tonight, aside from obviously having the military's newest jet, right? Like that's in and of itself. I mean, if you just had that thing coming, everyone should come and check it out. But when you look at this lineup, what really sticks out? Dave said the other day, the yellow. I don't know if it's still yellow, but the plane with the propeller on the back. But what other things are really going to stick out here, Phil?
Yeah, there's going to be. That's really unusual. That's not an airplane I have seen do an air show in over 20 years. That's one of the pushers with a canard up in the front. It's called a Very Easy, and that's going to be unique to see. But we've got a fellow here flying from down in Chicago that's with us flying an airplane called an Extra 300. It's a German-designed and built super plane that was built just strictly for hardcore air show aerobatics. And we got Mike Backman here flying that airplane, and Michael just absolutely gets every ounce of performance out of that airplane. He does upright flat spins. He does passes down the runway inverted, hanging by his seatbelt and shoulder harness, where you can look and see him in the bubble canopy of that airplane, where he's only about, I'm going to guess the top of the rudder, which is now upside down, of course, is only about probably 4 feet off the pavement, and he's going about 200 miles an hour as he goes screaming by, and he puts on just one of the most dynamic air show routines, doing things in an airplane that I got to tell you, I never thought I'd see an airplane do, and I've been in the air show business now for quite a few years.
Dave, anything stick out here that you kind of, military stuff aside, that you're really itching to see?
Well, I've never seen Eric Edgren in his show, so that I am definitely looking forward to that. I've seen the Vanguard squadron before. They're wonderful to watch, but it's always someone I've never seen before that always intrigues me.
Yeah, Phil. So Eric's part of your. I guess can you describe you must run some kind of where you have a bunch of teams.
We've got an air show team. We've been in business out of we're right on the Illinois-Wisconsin border, just below Lake Geneva, Wisconsin, and we operate a full service air show team. Basically, we have at this show here, we've got our full. Our operations team, which is myself as the announcer, our air boss, Scott Duck, and his parents actually named him Donald S. Duck. He goes by Scott. But I guess when you have the last name Duck, you're going to got to have fun with it. And but he goes by Scott, and he's the air boss. He's fully accredited by the FAA and the International Council of Air Shows to be the liaison between the performers, the FAA, and the airport and the air show in coordinating air shows that include teams like the Blue Angels and the Thunderbirds and the foreign military teams as well. So we've got Scott here with us. He's part of our team. We also have our air show sound team. They come to us. They're based out of Cedar Rapids, Iowa, and that team has been with us. They've been here along with myself. I think we're the only two that have been here for every show, and that's Claude Spears and Nathan Longwish and Brian Bullington and team, and they're with us here, and they take care of not only they provide the PA system, the sound system for the people listening to hear the show, but they more importantly they have the all the avionics that allow our air boss Scott Duck to communicate with all of the performers throughout the day, so they know exactly when they're supposed to be, where they're supposed to be, if there's any issues they need to be made aware of when they're cleared to begin their performance, if there's any reasons they need to knock it off or anything like that, as that's monitored every second of the performance. So again, that's what they provide for us. In addition to that, we've got several solo aerobatic air show performers. Over the years here at La Crosse, I know my brother's performed here. He did the wing walking show with where they did a full freestyle wing walking show.
Phil, I will while I'm getting text. First of all, I got a text that said you're so hyped up, it's adorable. I got a text one of those texts. I got another text that said that the flying team, the F-35 team that was just here, needs to go to the Pearl. So I got to shoot them a text to head to the Pearl to
Okay.
get some ice cream. So I'm texting and trying to listen. I'm doing too many things at once. But when I look at Eric's like profile on the page here, how is he? It sounds like he's doing stand-up comedy. Is he just going to stand on a wing of this airplane, Eric Edrin,
No,
have a
not at all.
microphone
No, actually, his comedy is strictly on
on the ground?
It's all a spiel on. He's Eric is a disenfranchised Jimmy Buffett fan.
That's what his picture looks like.
Jimmy told him he says, if you go to the airport, we'll get you an airplane ride. And just so happens the airplane that Eric flies has some resemblance, if you're properly motivated, to look like a parrot. And so he, of course, ties two and two together. That must be the airplane that Jimmy Buffett told him he's supposed to get his ride in. And as you could expect, things don't go exactly as planned. And there's a good chance that our friend ends up in the airplane by himself without the instructor who was going to give him a ride, hopefully to Rochester or someplace like that. And like I say, then you get a chance to see some aerial shenanigans, shall we say?
Yeah,
but yeah. So that's what happens there.
Now, Dave, I got this text. You're gonna have to tell this. You're gonna have to tell Scott. He says, "Can we listen to the show from anywhere from the lake as we observe?" This is the whole. I mean, no, right? Like,
Right. No, you can't hear from the lake. No.
Yeah.
We are, because we are spreading the cars out throughout the parking lot. We are spreading the speakers out also. So no matter where you are in the parking lot, you will be able to hear Phil Dacey.
Yeah, I was thinking, that obviously you don't want to hear this idea right before, but like if you bought a ticket, you could get some kind of like secret code to type in to listen to maybe the broadcast of the air show.
Nah.
But we can't do that now. It's the day before the air show. Good idea, Rick. Shut up. Dump this. Don't let anyone hear that. Now, Phil, I don't know. Maybe this isn't a good question for you, but maybe it is because you're kind of helping some of these guys. But how does somebody get into? You know what? I'm going to fly airplanes in the Vanguard. I'm going to be a stunt pilot. That seems like a ridiculous thing to try to be as a profession.
It's one of those things. I don't know. There are kids that, as you'll read, there are kids that they went to an air show and they saw the Blue Angels fly when they were 7 years old and said, "That's what I'm going to do." And that's pretty common, in all honesty. Where they grew up and looked at, or as a kid they looked at the sky, or went to a show with their dad or grandpa or something, and just went, "Wow, that looks really cool." But basically, it's like anything. You got to learn how to walk before you can run, and so basically you need to just get your basic flight training, get your private pilot's license, and that type of thing. Build experience, and as you get up to, I'm sure like Michael Vacton, who flies, like I say, he was on the United States World Aerobatic Team in the unlimited category, and you'll see when you watch him fly, you'll see why that's the case. But Michael learned to fly in a little Cessna, just like everybody, just off the street, and then said, I really, would like to take it to the next level, and he started doing basic aerobatics. Probably had, 300 hours total time, and then just dedicated himself to that. It's obviously something that does demand dedication if you want to become a serious aerobatic pilot. It's not something you can do part-time.
It's such a funny concept, and I think maybe if you went the military route, it'd be a better avenue to getting trained for some of this stuff. But so if I want to do tricks on my bicycle, you always see the movie where they put 100 mattresses out and you do the tricks and you land in the mattresses. Yeah. It's not like you can put 100 mattresses out and crash your airplane into some mattresses.
Yeah. No, yeah, you actually can go to. There's some outstanding aerobatic training schools that you can go to get all the basic stuff dialed in, where you can learn. Hey, here's what if I mess up this maneuver, here's how I recover, and stay alive to do it again tomorrow.
Oh, that makes sense. I didn't even think of that.
It is unforgiving. That's one thing. You do have to be dedicated. You do have to. You can't. It's really hard to be a serious aerobatic pilot and also be a serious boater and a serious motorcyclist and all those kind of things. It's one of those things where you really have to dedicate, a combination of time and money to, because obviously it's not cheap. The airplane, like you'll see Mike fly, if you're going to buy that airplane new today, it's over $500,000. And its only purpose is to do really aerobatics and that type of thing.
Now, Phil, Dave, maybe you can answer that. Like, if there was not military, but just like is there the stunt pilot that and maybe you got him, but I don't know if you would have probably advertised that a bit more. But who would be the guy that we would need to get that isn't a military flying team? Is there a guy?
There are
It's
several
hard to
really
say.
good
I can't think of
civilian teams or several good civilian performers, and
We've
they've
got so
all
many
been
over
here
the
at lacrosse. To be honest, I can't think of any top of the line performer. Can you, Dave, that hasn't been at lacrosse at some point?
Yeah. Dave, do you think there's any? Do you have any in mind?
None that I can think of offhand. That would.
I mean, there's teams. The Aeroshell aerobatic team flies a spectacular aerobatic demonstration. We work with the Phillips 66 team. They're outstanding as far as formation. As far as solo aerobatics, like I say, we've had basically all the premier solo performers have been here in lacrosse. There's right now, if you were to say, hey, there's a fellow out of Tennessee that is known around the world as just an outstanding air show performer, fellow named Skip Stewart, who we work with a lot of shows with. There's like I say, there's a group of just absolutely incredible world class air show pilots that are out there that were always civilian, never military, and conversely, there's the great military guys too.
All right, Dave. If we can't have an air fest without a military team, is that how that works? But what if you got some of these just top of the top regular guys? I don't know. Because we're not going to have an air fest next year.
Right. It would be an outstanding air show if we only had civilian, if we didn't have the military. But at Airfest, we decided a long time ago we would only have an air show if we had the Blue Angels or the Thunderbirds, just because of the crowd draw. We have bigger crowds. Because we had many air shows when we did not have the Blue Angels. We didn't have as bigger crowds, and we didn't make as much money, and our bank account was going lower. So we decided to stick with the jet
as Dave was
team
saying there,
and
the
bigger
cost
crowds.
to bring in these
Keep
top of the
having
line
an air fest.
civilian performers is very high. They demand very high fees just because they're operating very expensive equipment. They've got thousands of hours of practice built in that cost hundreds of thousands and millions of dollars to put together. And the problem, unfortunately, I walk in downtown La Crosse and I mention the name of the top 3 civilian airshow performers, I'd get a blank look in my face from the folks down there. But if I say Blue Angels, I go, oh, Blue Angels, oh, that's going to be great. Or if I say, the F-16 demo team or the F-35 demo team, it's that name recognition, which, it's just the fact of life. It's as Dave said, you try to do a show with all the civilian performers. You can certainly do that on a scale, but it's really nice when you complement it this way. This way here, the show can, provides the viewing public with a premier combination of performers, both military and civilian, and the show will draw a bigger crowd just because of that name recognition of the Blue Angels, the F-35, the F-16.
All right, that's Phil Dacey. He's the announcer. You'll be able to hear him Saturday and Sunday. Dave Larson, you might see him walking around with a big old camera. I really appreciate you guys stopping in and calling in, Phil, and get some water now. And North Country Steak Buffet is not where anyone needs to go right before they fly in an air show. That is a terrible text. You're banned from the show, Ken. All right. Thanks, you guys. Thanks a lot for joining me.
Thank you.
Thanks, Phil.
Alrighty. Hey, thanks a lot. Look forward to seeing you this weekend.
All right. See ya. All right. We got to take one more quick break, and we'll wrap up. All right. Let's see where we're at here. Thanks a lot to Dave Larson, to the F-35 team, to Phil Dacey for joining me. I think that's all. Whew, what a whirlwind. That's all I got. Tomorrow, Chergosky's back. We're going to talk with UW Lacrosse political science scientist Anthony Chergosky. I better get out of here before I fall over. Thanks for listening.